The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Welcome to The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu. I know I got some great guests here too as well. Got some great stories to tell you about. And of course, wanted to thank all those men and women who are in the service, military, otherwise, that really helped us out. Give us the freedoms and gives us the chance to kind of talk about this. Of course, great Remembrance Day long weekend and a lot of stories that happened during that time as well. But first, Greg Buchanan, my co-host, got to introduce you.
Not too bad, Moses. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. And of course, we have I don't know, it's a bit of a rivalry here. No fisticuffs just yet. We do have gloves on the set. We're going to talk to Durwin Selte. You are the head coach of the Vermilion Junior B Tigers. How's it going?
Good.
Excellent. All right. Well, personal rivalries aside, guys, let's talk about what's going on. Of course, you guys have kind of dealt in the locker rooms. You guys played hockey. You guys coach. I know you do currently, Durwin. But we're going to talk about Richie Incongnito and the culture that goes with this. We just mentioned this before we went on air. These are paid professionals that are acting like kids at this point. It seems funny to me, considering that on Sunday you had Richie Incongnito finally come out and say his piece in terms of why he did it on Fox Sports, saying that, you know what, it was lighthearted, it wasn't intentional. He showed Jay Glazer, who just so happens to be a friend of his, the interview of former O-lineman himself, the text messages. It went back and forth. When I saw this interview, a part of me was a bit confused. A part of me was thinking, well, where's Jonathan Martin, this whole thing? I want to get his side of the story, because all we've had is just a statement. And I'm not saying I'm not absolving Incongnito, but I kind of understand where he's coming from. Where do you guys stand on this issue?
Well, like you said, there's two sides to every story. And there's something that's not being said by the other side, right? And then the stuff that was said, to me, that's in the dressing room stuff that shouldn't be released out into the public, right? Lots of things are said.
You know, there's got to be something going on behind the scenes here. There's got to be a reason why this is coming out. There's got to be maybe possibly he wants out of Miami, didn't know how to do it right, and not saying he's making up these stories. You know, things are said in the dressing room, and they wouldn't be normally said out in the public. But what happens behind that dressing room doors and happens between players and in a team setting, it stays as a team. It doesn't go out. There's some stuff that's said in our room that you laugh about, and maybe it's not the most politically correct room that you're going around, but you know, politically correct is not exactly something that's used in a dressing room.
I know, for myself, at least I could say this, I may have passed judgment on Incongnito a little too early, knowing that I have a little bit of a bias towards him because I've read in the stories I've heard about Richie as a player. As a teammate, it might be completely the opposite. His teammates love him. Sounds like he'll be back after this whole suspension, this thing clears up. As for Brown, we don't know. But do you feel that the media has kind of already tried being the judge, jury, and executioner of this whole thing, and that Richie wasn't really given a fair shake?
Well, I agree. It's blowing up. It's media, right? You want the big story, right? They're trying to build it up to something. It could be like he wants out, right? Simple as that. Media will build up anything.
Yeah, you know, media and hype. Who would have thunk that, huh? I think more than anything, it's what happened with that is that phone call, that voicemail message that got sent out to the media. The media gets hold of that, blows it up, and yeah, this guy's guilty before he even gets to talk about it. And so blame the media for hyping it up, yeah, but that voicemail message really basically nailed him to the cross.
Okay, we're going to move on to the CFL playoffs. Big games, of course, big wins for Saskatchewan to come from behind victory in the fourth quarter to beat BC. Then you had Hamilton escaping narrowly and getting a bit of a break by the referees on a non-pass interference call late in the game that should have been called on Hamilton. They ended up winning it in overtime. Guys, out of those two teams, Hamilton and Saskatchewan, you got Hamilton visiting Toronto, very good side with Ricky Ray healthy finally, 100%, and you have Saskatchewan visiting a very tough McMahon Stadium in the Calgary Stampeders, and you know Josh Cornish wants to run the ball right down the throats of that defense. Who do you take as the best road team in this scenario, Hamilton or Saskatchewan, getting further and going to the Grey Cup?
I think Saskatchewan is personally, I don't think Saskatchewan has they're on the road. Their rider pride is going to be there in full green and everything else. I think Saskatchewan personally has a better chance.
Third largest city in Saskatchewan this weekend will be Calgary, because there's going to be a lot of Riders fans making the trip to McMahon. They're going to have their hands full, though. On the weekend, they held BC to under 200 yards in rushing against a BC running attack that is more east-west and north-south kind of running. John Cornish is simply north-south. He'll just run that ball down your throat. And if they can't stop him, and I think they're going to have problems stopping him, it's going to be a long day for the green and white. As much as I pick with my heart, I got to pick with my head, and I'm going to say it's going to be the Stamps and Argos in the Grey Cup.
And you're saying Saskatchewan. Who else makes that out of the East?
I think Toronto.
Toronto?
Ricky Ray, for some reason, we traded him, and I don't know why, but
That's well, you could. I'm sure Eric Tillman, and that's the question mark every Eskimo fan probably has out there. Hey, guys, yesterday, some serious news. The only game in the NHL yesterday, you had Boston taking on Tampa Bay, Steven Stamkos. We all know electrifying was a lock to be on Team Canada. Well, that's not the case anymore, as he broke his right tibia in a freak accident as he was going towards the net, trying to clear a puck. Ended up slipping, losing a skate, whatever it was, but ended up breaking his right tibia. And generally, that injury takes about up to 3 months to kind of fully heal. That's very close to the deadline in terms of going to the Olympics. Do you think he still has a chance to be on Team Canada's roster? They might list him, but will he actually play?
personally, if I was Babcock, I'd play him. Steven Stamkos, he is, if you need a goal, he's your man, right? Because didn't Getzlaf in 2010, it was the same thing, Getzlaf? Like he was injured and then last minute they end up
Yeah, because you're allowed to the day before the game, so 24 hours too. You can still name him onto the team, but you can make the replacements just prior to.
I think he keeps Stamkos, personally. That's just my opinion.
It's going to be tough for him to get back in time. Like I do believe you put him on the roster, but when they made a lot of the interviews yesterday and they talked to Babcock, I think they talked to the head of Hockey Canada too, and the word they said was. He was going to be a good part of our Olympic team. I hate when they say was. It's going to be, I guess he has surgery this week and kind of go from there, but 3 to 4 months, that's what they're saying. And it's a big blow to the Canadian Olympic team if he doesn't play, but just imagine the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's going to kill them.
It's going to be definitely interesting to see what happens during the stretch run. I think a lot of gasps by Canadian fans knowing how electrifying this guy can be, especially on that open ice. That's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that timetable. All right, we're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, we're going to talk about PK Subban, of course, the issues with his head coach, Michel Therrien, coming up.